Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Friend Center podcast. If you're watching this video, I am getting ready to go spend the day with our friends and hang out at their house, and it'll be a fun time. They are our only friends that we have from back home, and we are just gonna go and spend some time with them. But I need to get this recording done, and I thought I would just try and do it while I get ready. So one of the questions that I have received in the past was, how do I manage conflict and my emotions at the same time? And I get it. It's hard being a teenager and dealing with your own emotions while trying to navigate other people's, especially if you're dealing with drama or anything like that. And so we're just going to dive into that a little bit. I also just picked up this from Target, I think. Maybe it was Walmart. But I really like the formula, and it says to press it into your skin. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to apply some SPF. If you are listening to this and you're like, what the heck? Maybe watch the video. Okay, so I've got my handy dandy laptop here. I'm going to pull up my notes. Like I said, being a teenager is hard enough, right? You're dealing with emotions and hormones, and you're trying to balance all of the things. Who knows what you might have going on at home? Maybe you got some family drama, some friend drama. Just life can kind of be hard, right? And so I get it. There's also the stress of getting into college or making sure that you're passing so that you can perform at the next game or competition or whatever it might be. So sometimes all of that piled onto your plate can be a lot, but I think it's worth noting that if you look at all of it like that, it's a lot harder to deal with. So take a step back, take a deep breath. Breath is going to be a common thread in today's conversation. But take a deep breath and just ground yourself. If you happen to be a more sensitive person, I think it's useful to note when you notice problems starting to arise. What do you tend to do when things come up? How do you feel your body reacting? What is happening to your breath? What's happening in your headspace? What's going on? I think when you kind of take a scan and do an inventory of what's going on internally and maybe even physically, when you hit a snag and you've got to deal with a conflict, especially if it's on your team and you have to assume the role of a leader, pay attention to what's going on. How are you dealing with it? How is it affecting your body and your mentality and your energy? On that note of paying attention, figure out what it is that's setting you off. What is it about the conflict that sets you off? Is it that you are getting frustrated because you don't have control over the situation? Are you feeling overwhelmed? What is it? Pay attention to what's going on and kind of start to dissect what is causing you to feel the way that you're feeling. Is it lack of control? Is it because the people that are involved are they already annoying you? You know, there are so many different things that can go into that we have to consider. There's so many things that we have to consider when we're trying to dissect everything that's going on. And the better you can kind of analyze everything, the more effective you can be at fixing this problem and being proactive about it for the future, right? So, for example, if you know that Susie is already getting on your nerves because she hasn't been listening to you, and now you're having to deal with drama, and Susie is like talking behind somebody's back, and now you're having to deal with it. Or maybe Susie posted something on social. Oh my god. Maybe Susie posted something on social media and she wasn't supposed to. I don't know. That also tends to happen a lot, and I think I need to make a note of that and talk about it in another video. But what's going on? If it's another person, what is the background? What is the context? Why is it that they are getting on your nerves, or what is it that they're doing? And I think it's important to take in all the details so you can make an informed decision. Something to note is that self-awareness is a huge part of growing up and maturity. And you'll notice sometimes you might encounter adults that lack self-awareness, you know? And sometimes there are parents, and that can be really frustrating. So the reason why I bring it up is because you don't want that to be you, right? So it's really important that we practice those skills now so we don't run into them later. When you start to use that tool of self-reflection, being able to be self-reflective is a huge part of being a good leader. But within this particular situation, not only is self-reflection important, but I think the biggest tool, especially when you're a more emotional person, is being able to use your breath. A lot of times we probably don't pay that much attention to what our breath is doing because we do it all the time. Who gives a crap, right? You never think about your breath because it's always there, and you just do it without thinking about it, and so it's hard to keep it in the forefront of your mind. But that's kind of where we go wrong sometimes. You have to like that. Your breath gives you lots of clues about what's going on, and it even transforms how you perform. If you're a dancer, or you do color guard, or you cheer, or anything like that, even if you do sports, taking control of your breath is really going to optimize your performance in huge ways. I mean, controlling your breathing really helps with how you can be bigger on the parts that you need to be bigger on, you know, especially if you're a performer. But I imagine it's the same even if you play sports. Like if you're about to do a huge spike or something, I don't know sports terminology that well, but if you're about to really expel a lot of energy, you need the breath to be able to do it. And a lot of times we don't think about how our breath can affect how we're feeling and how it can help to take us back to the ground when we feel like we're starting to get away from ourselves. It's a huge tool, and I hope it's something that you harness and you start to use it as a coping mechanism. When something is going on with your body, your breath is it's definitely gonna let you know. It's definitely gonna tell you. And so hopefully these are some tools that will help you get your breath under control. And if your breath is under control, you can make a lot more sound decisions, especially if you are trying to lead a group of people. So, number one, you can try counting. And I don't think it's necessarily like the number of counts. Like I don't think there's a magic number. I might be wrong. I'm not like a therapist or anything, but I think counting allows you to focus on something else rather than whatever it is that's going on that's bothering you or triggering you or upsetting you. And so just count. Count in, count out. I think having the same number of seconds or counts as you go in be the same as the amount that goes out is also helpful, because then it helps you to even out your breath. Allow your breath to really fill your entire body. And notice like what parts of your body rises and falls, and notice the sensations of what it feels like for your chest to expand and fall. Close your eyes. This is a good one too. Closing your eyes is a powerful tool, not just for shutting everything off so you can focus on your breath and really find your center again when you're starting to feel a rise in your emotions, but it's also great for if you are trying to memorize or learn choreography. I always encourage my students, and I even do this myself when I'm taking a class. Not that I've taken one in a really long time, but taking some time every couple of reps to close off my eyes and see what I can remember. If I can't remember, if I feel confident about what I just did, or if I feel like I had a lot of mental breaks and I forgot a lot of the stuff, that tells me, okay, I'm good with this. I need to work on this, and it just kind of helps me be a better class taker, a better student. That was a long-winded way of just saying focus on your breath. I cannot tell you how important it is to be able to use just those simple skills that I spent a lot of time going over, because sooner or later you're going to be an adult that is going to have to make decisions that affect more than just you. And right now, you might be a leader and you're already in that position, or maybe you're having to also be responsible for siblings and stuff at home because of whatever it is you might have going on in your personal life. I don't know. I've seen a lot of my students have to take on the burden of a lot of things that many kids don't have to worry about because of financial circumstances and things like that. You never know what someone's going through. But sometimes we don't learn how to deal with things as an adult because the adults around us are not doing a good job of adulting. And so it's up to you to break that cycle. And something just as simple as grounding yourself when you start to feel upset is going to help a lot. And that's not to say that you aren't allowed to feel upset, because you are. You're allowed to have emotions, you're allowed to have feelings, but whenever you cannot make decisions or handle sticky situations because your feelings are getting in the way, that's when it hinders your performance, and it might affect your odds of getting chosen again next year if you're not a senior, or if you're at work and that's how you deal with situations, you might like not get that raise or that promotion, or you might try to leave and get another job, but your employer might say those things about you and that you're not good at dealing with tough situations. And so that's when we have to really consider how important it is for us to have a handle on how we deal with our emotions and not letting it get to the best of us. I think that's part of the reason why I really am so passionate about talking about leadership, is because it's way more than what you do in front of your peers. You know, it's, to me, it's about passing on the skills so that you feel like you can be a successful adult and you can handle life when it gets tough, because it will, because that's how life is. It gets hard sometimes. Even being a mom, on a day-to-day basis, I have to deal with a lot. You know, if my kids are being too much and I'm being overstimulated or I'm getting frustrated, yeah, sometimes I get upset, and sometimes I have to make decisions that while I'm mad, or I act out of my anger, but I have to take it upon myself to self-reflect and think about, how could I have handled this situation better? What is it that's triggering me, and how can I better deal with it the next time it comes up? Don't be afraid to apologize if you feel like you didn't make the best decision. You can always go back and say you're sorry. You might not be able to change anything, but you can absolutely say you're sorry at least. When you are able to own up to your mistakes and apologize and show the people around you that you messed up and that you're taking accountability for it, you're responsible for it, it shows people, number one, how mature you are for being able to do that, but number two, that it's okay, you're human. It humanizes you, and it helps people to connect with you and trust you, because they know that you are not all up on your high horse. Being vulnerable is a great way of getting others to see you in a light that makes you like a peer. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know it all, but you do have to do your best. And when you make mistakes, which you will inevitably, to own up to them, because no one expects you to be perfect, right? But it's important that we try to right our wrongs. I guess that was a really long-winded way of saying that it's okay to have emotions, and it's okay that they get the best of you sometimes and you struggle with that. But the fact that you are trying to learn about how to deal with it is a huge step in the right direction. And it's simple, really. Notice the things that bother you. Use your breath. Slow down. Find your center. And once you are grounded again, make decisions from that place, from that mental space. And analyze, what was it about the situation that bothered me? How can I prevent that from happening again next time? What can I do differently to be proactive about this? I hope this helps. I really feel like that was really hard to put on makeup and look at my notes and talk to you at the same time. That was not easy. But I'm trying. I hope this helps. Leave a comment if you feel like you have a thought about anything that I just said, or if you have a question that you want me to address. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye. There's like nothing left in here. It's so sad. What is the opposite of expanding? I can't think of it right now. It's really hard trying to multitask, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't even know if this is a good idea, but we're doing it. And I can't put on mascara without closing my mouth, so. Oh, vulnerability. That's what it was. Oops, wrong brush.